Battlefield 6 has been out for around 9 months now, and DICE has made multiple passes at both the audio and netcode. Now, are both systems technically better than where they were at launch? Yes, but that barely means anything when they still feel absolutely terrible in practice. When it comes to the netcode, I'm still dying around corners at times. I've even seen bullets coming toward me from players who hadn't even appeared on my screen yet, and I've had people shooting directly at me with almost no feedback until the final bullet or two suddenly registers and I'm dead. Maybe certain things and measurements have been improved behind the scenes, but these fights still feel disconnected from what I'm actually seeing and experiencing in-game, and a system being less broken doesn't automatically make it acceptable. The audio here is just as bad. There are still times when somebody can be roughly 10 feet away from me, directly on the other side of a piece of cover, and I can't hear them at all, even though the space surrounding the cover is completely open. Footsteps, positioning, and nearby threats remain so inconsistent that I can't even reliably trust the information the game is giving me. Trying to localize where sounds are coming from is still almost impossible at times. And after 9 months, I feel like this is highly inexcusable. I've heard the explanations about how many systems are interacting and how complicated these problems are. That may explain why they're difficult to fix, but it doesn't excuse the result either way. At the end of the day, this is a full-priced AAA shooter developed by DICE and backed by EA. Audio and netcode are not minor polish issues, they are foundational systems that affect nearly every gunfight. So yes, it may be technically better than where they were at launch, but they both still feel unreliable. These improvements are largely irrelevant as a result. How much longer are players supposed to accept better when the actual experience still feels this horrible? At the end of the day here, we're still going to be comparing terrible to slightly less terrible, and that's pointless. At this point, I have little confidence that these problems will ever be fully resolved. What makes this even more baffling for me is, coming from 2042, even with all of that game's problems, it had pretty decent netcode which felt considerably more reliable, and the audio was genuinely good. So DICE has already shown that they're capable of delivering these systems at a much higher level, but for whatever reason, whether it's the engine, underlying design, or something else, Battlefield 6 still cannot consistently accomplish what its previous game actually did correctly. So when basic audio and networking remain this unreliable 9 months after launch, we're no longer talking about minor flaws, but we're talking about the game failing to meet the bare minimum expected from a multiplayer shooter. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next one. RAMTEID out.